Hi everyone. So for this lesson we'll start off with some new vocabulary for geometry. So when we talk about undefined terms, we are talking about terminologies that can be described but cannot be defined any further. For example, we can talk about points, okay, or lines and planes. So think of these three items as the building block or the alphabet when we talk about the vocabulary for geometry. Alright, one way to think of a point in geometry is to use this as an indicator for position. Alright, it doesn't have any length, width, or depth to it. All it does is indicate a position. And the next undefined term that we'll look at is a line, and think of that as the set of continuous points, and it can go in either direction and it'll extend indefinitely, meaning it'll go on forever in both directions. And the last undefined term we'll look at is the plane, and think of that as the set of points forming a flat surface, and the best example to think about is a piece of paper, right? We'll consider that to be a plane. So here's an example of a plane. Here's a flat surface consisting of a set of points, and you also want to keep in mind that it extends in all directions indefinitely. So think of it as going in all directions. So now that we know the undefined terms, which are point, line, and plane, we can actually use that to come up with defined terminologies, right? So for example, we can use that to define a line segment, a ray, or angles. So the reason that we want to come up with defined terms is that we want to create a common vocabulary in geometry so that we can use it to relate geometric figures and relationships. So here's an example of a line segment. It consists of two endpoints, and we'll call these two endpoints A and B, and it's made up of those two endpoints and all the points in between A and B. Right? So to label this line segment, we can write it as AB with a line right above it. Here's an example of a ray. Similar to a line segment, a ray is also part of a line. It consists of one endpoint, which I label A, and the set of all of the other points to the right of A, or to one side, right? And here to label this ray, we can label it as AB with a ray symbol right on top of it. Now to turn the original ray into opposite rays, all you have to do is create another ray in the opposite direction. So I created ray AC sharing the same endpoint A. So we have AB going in the right direction and ray AC going in the left direction. So now we have two rays, and they are known as opposite rays. So you might have noticed that the two opposite rays actually form a line, and we also know that points CAB are on that line, and this introduces a new concept, which is collinear points. So if you have a set of points on a line, so in this case we have points CA and B, these 3 points are collinear. Now when you have the union of two rays with the same endpoint, then you create an angle. Now for this particular case, we can write this as angle ABC. And we call the endpoint, in this case the B, the vertex. And the important thing about the vertex is when you write it out, it has to be in the middle. So here we label it as angle ABC, and B has to be in the middle. You can also write this angle or label this angle as angle CBA, which is referred to the same angle, but again B has to be in the middle. And the three different angles that we'll explore further are acute, right, and obtuse. And we're done. And we're happy.